All right, it's Monday, November 9th, 2020. And, another day, another opportunity, another chance at infinite possibilities. But, we're about 5 days or so out from the election, and the reverberations throughout reality are still kind of flowing out from the election. Uh, and in a weird way, we're living in a bipolar or a polarized society. Left, right, Republican, Democrat, North Pole, South Pole, and people talking about that the Earth could literally have a pole shift where the North Pole becomes a South Pole, North Pole. Well, guess what? This election was a pole shift. Like with Biden now claiming to be the president elect, it's kind of like everything's flipped on its head. Where Trump was Hitler to half the people, now Biden will be Hitler to half the people. Where Trump was saving the world to half the people, now Biden is saving the world to half the people. But, the problem is there is actually only one truth and one reality. So, either everybody meets in the middle where reality is, or, we got half the people walking around in some kind of a fake ass deception. And if it's now the people running our country, that doesn't make me feel good. Uh, just as a note, the last couple of days, November 7th, 11/7/77, Saturday, the 8th, or I mean, like today, oh yeah, today's Monday the 9th, so Sunday, yeah, would have been the 8th, so 11/8/88. These are all kind of, I don't know why, dude. I don't understand numerology at all, but shit's just resonating off the hook. But anyway, last night, Sunday, on the 8th, NFL football was this great game, supposedly, a matchup between my favorite quarterback, Tom Brady, who is known as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And they were going up against the New Orleans Saints with Drew Brees. And, in this divided time, like spiritually, everything's, reflections of things to come and to be. So, anyway, the football game, the Saints crushed the goats. And, we could be in a time of dividing where the sheep and the goats are being divided, the left and the right. But it's a signaling of what's possibly upon us. The Saints crushing the goat or the goats. The left thinks that, everybody thought Tampa Bay was indestructible, but guess what? They got destroyed. But, when you look at the scriptures, time is in circles and everything is reflections upon reflections. And, that's where we're at, man. As of today, when we say, where do we go from here? The answer is it's all about faith. And that is the cycles you see in the Bible, man, like from Abraham, who walked out of Babylon, because God said, Abraham, come to me, to the promised land. Abraham had no idea where he was going, and, as a society, we have a choice. It's the path of the goat or the path of the saints. The saints, they're marching by faith, man, faith in God. Abraham was a saint. And, he heard God, and science and logic would have told you, stay in Babylon. It's the place to be. But Abraham left Babylon. And, we're being called out of Babylon. The 72 million people that voted for Biden, they may be voting for Babylon. Another similar cycle in the Bible was the children of Israel in Egypt. It was come out of Egypt, and Israel, through Moses, who, was a morning star, a prophet, through God, they walked out of Egypt, where all science and logic would have said, no, stay in Egypt, man. That's where it's happening, dude. It's a major cultural city center, and even as they left, there were people saying, let's go back to Egypt. And I'm sure even within Abraham's camp, there might have been people, saying, let's go back to Babylon. And as a note, Abraham left Babylon with 70 men, and it was 70 million people that voted for Trump. It was 72 million that voted for Biden. But these are cycles. They keep reflecting, and that's how you understand where we're at and what's possibly going to happen. People are already onto it. It's like, is the Civil War going down? Kind of, but not exactly, because each reflection is unique within itself, But we're definitely facing two choices. The coronavirus, that's the centerpiece of Biden's whole plan. And, he's forming a task force, and, he's going to say, we got to do whatever science says, Well, I'm going to tell you what, man. If you do whatever science says and you don't do what God says, God with science produces amazing things. Science on its own is, in my opinion, a path to some kind of sinister, dark plot. So if we just follow science and we ignore God, this corona thing is going to result and manifest in something horrific. Like that vaccine could be some form of control or, mark of the beast, whatever. And I'm not saying I'm anti-vaccine, but now that Biden's going to be dishing it out, I'm really suspicious of it. But guess what? They were the ones that were saying, be suspicious of the vaccine prior to the election. But now they're going to be saying, hey, line up, everybody get it. But those are the kinds of polar flips and choices and things, foreshadowing that may be happening. So another thing from the scriptures is, as the children of Israel got into the promised land, they thought everything was gravy, man, but they really weren't following God's will, because he was saying, you got to get all these other people that don't know me, that don't follow any of my rules and my ways. They got to go. They can't live in the land with you. And the children of Israel didn't move them out, whether it was by getting rid of them or saying, leave over there. But anyway, in the Bible, prior to Israel, the nation, having a king, there was the period of the judges. And these were men of renown, Samson, Gideon, the 300. But it was always, a person, a spiritual person, going up against just unbelievable odds, darkness, but coming out victorious because the finger of God was with them. That's kind of like the period that we're in. Abraham was a man of renown. Moses was a man of renown. And they went up all the time, always, against just unbelievable odds against them. And, as we speak, Trump, sits there and, the left thinks it's over, but, it would be unbelievable. It would be the finger of God at this point if Trump retains his presidency. But, you may say, faith, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter if you say, I'm a Christian, or like Joe Biden says, I'm a Catholic and I believe in God. You know what? Doesn't mean nothing, because your lips saying that, what it comes down to is what's in your heart and your walk. You're either walking with God, because that proves your faith, or you're not. So if you're saying I believe in God and yet you really, there's no fruit in your life and you're not walking with God, then it doesn't matter that you say you believe in God. But faith, Abraham left Babylon by faith. Moses, followed God, and they had their doubts, but they followed God through faith. And the children of Israel had to, through faith, get to the promised land. But, the reason why faith is important, okay, because science and facts won't get you there. It won't get you to the promised land. So I'll give you an analogy. Like today here in Nevada, we had about a little over half a foot of snow that fell Saturday, Sunday, like that dark, cold winter I was talking about. So to get from my house down to the little shopping center that's closest to my house, the first thing I got to do is go down a dirt road about 1.5 miles that's all hilly, bumpy, twisty, turny. And you know what? If you've never been down it, it's pretty damn dangerous. But I've been up and down that road for 7 years, so I could go up and down it with my eyes closed. So with the snow, that dirt road doesn't get plowed. And, it's basically covered with ice and snow compared to the city streets. But when I left this morning, I'm kind of lazy, so I don't scrape my windshield, the snow off of it. I just start driving and I turn on my heater. And in my mind, I say I have faith that by the time I get to the bottom of the dirt road, my car will have heated up to where the snow will have melted, and I can easily get rid of it. Whereas when I start up my car, it's really hard to get the snow off because you got to scrape it off and it messes up. It's just really a tough thing. But I'm lazy; I don't do it. But anyway, what it means is that I got to go down my dirt road where I literally can't see out my front windshield because I didn't scrape the snow off. But I can do it, man, because I have faith that I've gone down that road so many times. Literally, I could do it with my eyes closed. So with all that snow on my windshield, I don't care. I'm just driving along and I make it safely to the bottom. And yeah, my windshield was heated up and the snow kind of easily slid away. But that's an example of where you go somewhere, you do something, but because you've experienced the cycle over and over and over again, it empowers your faith to do the journey one more time and successfully, crash the shore of Evermore. So that's why, I say it's important, man, that you don't ignore history. Like the scriptures, that's what's in there, is cycles upon cycles of reflections that allow us to navigate the current cycle that we're in. So anyway, I'm going to have to wrap this up, but, the period of the judges was prior to the king coming. David was kind of a reflection of Jesus Christ. And, once again, where do we go from here? It's a lot of people, 72 million people may be going back to Babylon, back to Egypt, but there could be 70 million of us that are now listening to God and ready to move forward through faith to that new destination, man. Think about it. God bless y'all.